Now let's take a look at some of our accessories that came along with the gun here. First thing is this choke key. Now it can be used on a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge. This choke key fits into the slots on the end of the choke, kind of like taking a drill bit out of your drill. You get a little ways, you can unscrew it. The one that comes in the gun is the improved cylinder. Now this one's marked Charles Daly IC. I don't know if you can read that or not. That's improved cylinder. It's the one, it's got the thinnest metal. It's got the biggest bore. Spreads the shot the least. Gives you the least amount of range, but the biggest spread in your shot. I'm going to put that back in. Unlike some other name brand guns, the semi-automatic Charles Daly comes with 3 chokes. Now if you had to buy those separately, they'd be anywhere between about $20 and $30. Maybe a little more even if you get it locally instead of over the internet. Inside the bag with the choke remover is an extra O-ring. That O-ring, of course, is at the front of your piston assembly, and the piston assembly pushes it into the proper spot in the cylinder. The other 2 chokes here, one's got, in this case, one's got an F for full, and that is the choke that gives you the most range. And this one here says Charles Daly, and it says M for modified. That's sort of like M for medium. You got your lock. Make sure that unauthorized people aren't firing your weapon. That actually fits in here when the bolt's back. Feed that through a little hole here that'll actually fit through there, and then the firing pin on the bolt can't make contact even if there was a shell in there, but you don't want to be storing this with a shell in the chamber. We'll go ahead and release that bolt. Once you release the bolt, if you're storing it for a long time, you're going to want to dry fire the thing. Make sure you got the we've just checked to make sure there's no shell in the chamber. Once you release the safety, I'd make sure it's a good habit, make sure you're pointed at something that's not going to matter. Dry fire. Release the spring. That's the firing pin spring. If you were to leave it, if you were to go ahead and leave it under tension all the time, it would eventually lose some of its strength and have a harder time firing some of those shells you want to. Okay. The manual's actually quite good. It'll save your receipt in the front of it. You can either fill out your warranty card, or you can go online and do it online. Charles Daly's probably got the best warranty repair in the entire firearms industry. If there's something goes wrong with your gun ever, you can send it back to them at their expense at this time, and they will return it to you repaired. And if you go onto their website, you can go onto the forum. The president of the company actually participates and helps answer questions and make sure things get expedited the way they should. Now here's a picture of the cylinder assembly on the semi-auto, and it's actually a little more updated. The one that's in the manual doesn't show the pieces quite the same as they are. In fact, this one doesn't either, because if you'll notice now, the action retarder, or actually the piston buffer, I should say, on our gun, it's got little ridges in it. It's not just plain plastic. You've also got an offer here in the box to join the NRA for $10 off. It's a good idea, especially considering the current political climate. It's only $25 for a year to join the NRA. It's a really good deal. You got a little firearm safety booklet, good to know, and firearm responsibility in the home. Make sure that you have your shotgun stored safely. Now we'll go over putting some shot shells in the gun and then unloading that two different ways. Okay, first thing, always make sure the safety's on. To load them into the chamber, push the bolt release button. Start pushing them into the magazine. I'm sorry, the magazine there. So keep that button held down. Okay, and I got 5 of them in there. You try to stick the 6th one in. It'll only go about 1 inch, because that's so you can. I think you can still get 5 3-inch cartridges in there, or shot shells, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Pull that back. Bolt assembly back. Now there's one in the chamber. You can put one more in the magazine. Okay, now this is a dangerous situation here. Make sure your safety's on. Now you can start unloading the gun, or if you're up in the field, you can start firing it. But to unload it, you can either cycle them through like that, or you can hit this bolt release button. There's a little nubby, there's a little thing you can push inside there. You probably can't see it on the tape here. You can pull them out one at a time this way. Very important thing to remember though, when you pull them all out of the magazine that way, the gun has still got one in the chamber. Don't forget that, or you could be in serious doo-doo. Always treat a gun like it's loaded. Always double check, make sure you see nothing when you're walking around with this thing. Make sure you've got nothing in the chamber, especially. When you're taking it in your car, you shouldn't have any in the magazine as well. And that, I think, just about covers it. Hope this is helpful to you. I'm going to try to head out to the field today and see if we can't fire this, maybe take a little video of that too. So I hit the bolt release, put the bolt back in, you know the gun's unloaded, and that's our Charles Daly semi-automatic shotgun. Hope that's helpful.